Down to 3. Rogers spins to his left. Comes underneath, and the pass is incomplete, out of bounds. Now they say complete. The official, the second one, came in and overruled the other, Jared Cook, and with 3 seconds left, the Packers are going to have a chance to win it.
That is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. The first official came down the sideline and said incomplete. The official from behind the play said the catch was good, and he was right.
Wow, Jared Cook, he knows where he is, and he's able to keep his feet in, and the throw that Rogers is able to make, moving to his left.
Unbelievable. 36 yards on 3rd and 20, and by inches, Jared Cook keeps his feet in bounds and makes the catch. And that was a good overrule and a good catch by Jared Cook.
Oh, yo, welcome to the 11th episode. Listen, I got a special guest, personal special guest. One of my personal guys, my boy Jared Cook, man. 16 years in
13.
13, should I give him 16? Because he was doing some work. But let me tell you, what, 13 years in the NFL, man. He actually played on my AAU team. I just want to bring him in. Jared Cook, what's up, bro?
Hey, man,
my man.
You already know.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir, always.
Yeah, so how's everything going, man?
Man, I'm good. Just
living.
Enjoying my retirement life. And
That's
just
awesome.
hanging out with the wife and the kids, man.
That's awesome, man. So I want to tell the audience, like when we first met, we're going to touch on that a little bit. I remember the guy, Greg Lockett, FBI agent, right?
Yeah.
I had just got done with the Celtics, and he came and saw the work that I did with them. You know, we ran through the country. And he came to me, he said, oh, I got this team, man. I need you to come look at them. I hadn't actually had a chance to enjoy my retirement. And so I said, once I got my nephew through the Celtics, I'm going to just chill. And then I had got them through. And then long story short, he said, just come to a practice. So I go to the practice. They had Lou Will, they had you, they had Sherrod Curry, Chad, and y'all was balling. So I went and told my wife and said, look, I want to coach these guys. And that's how it happened. So kind of just tell them a little bit about that journey, man, when we first met.
Yeah, that was like 8th grade, I think.
Yep.
And we was looking for a new coach, man. And your reputation preceded you based on what you did with the Atlanta Celtics. And we just kind of heard wind of that. And brought you in just smooth and real from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Bro was smooth and real, told it like it was, and you was the type of AAU coach that we needed at the time, especially for like development wise and taking our AAU talents to the next level. And that's what we needed as young men. And from then on, from 8th grade all the way until we were 17, you was with us. My parents started bringing me out to the YMCA to get one-on-one lessons in Snellville every Saturday. like you kind of brought us up in this AAU world and put us on for real. Wow. We made history, and it was one of the funnest times of my life.
Hey, I tell you, when he say we made history, that was one of the top teams in the history of AAU basketball.
First year coach, first year YBOA champion, national champion.
National televised too, wasn't it? Yeah, remember that. It's a team out of Florida. We in the 8th grade. Y'all playing against a 7-footer. You remember?
Yeah. Jason's son, he was big, boy.
7-footer, man, the 8th grade, bro.
Hey, you remember you drew up that play for Lou? It was like 5-8 seconds left. You drew it up. You said, this guy's going to happen. All right, bet. Lou drove, dished it to Big Shaq.
Yep.
And he put it in. The whole gym went crazy. They went crazy, bro. Right when the buzzer went off. Like everybody rushed the floor. Yeah, definitely remember.
Those are moments that we don't forget, man. But it actually kind of molds you, too. Because now you have gotten an opportunity. Because, see, our motto was team first, me second. And you guys bought into that, man. And I think that kind of helped all of us through our lives, you know, including myself, you know, because working with you guys helped me as much as I felt as though I was helping you guys. Yeah, so I thought that was an amazing moment. But a lot of people didn't know. See, I didn't even know at the time that you was a hell of a football player, bro.
Yeah.
At the time, you were balling like that back then.
Yeah, I started in the 4th grade, and then didn't play again until the 7th grade. I was real good in the 7th grade, and then 8th grade had all right. Yeah, they moved me to. I wasn't catching too good, so they moved me to defense. And then I didn't play until my senior year for real.
Wow.
Because I was traveling with y'all with AAU, so I'm thinking like I want to hoop.
Right.
I want to hoop. So I didn't play my freshman year. I didn't really play my sophomore year. I played a little bit, and then my junior year I broke my foot.
Got it.
And so I wasn't able to play at all that year. And then I came out my senior year and ball, and that helped me get scholarships, Ohio State, South Carolina, and then I chose South Carolina. But AAU is really what helped me with my athleticism with football.
Wow.
AAU and you know, like you said, right, you helped mold and grow us from the time we was jits. So I was a lanky kid that didn't know how to really use my arms at first, but hooping helped me know my body, know who I was, and just kind of figure out who I was athletically. And I was able to transfer that to the football field.
Absolutely.
And then football is what gave me the mentality for basketball. So
wow.
They kind of played off and helped on each other.
So let me ask you this. You know, when your parents used to bring you to the YMCA, and I used to work with you. So how important was it once I got you to understand how important your feet was?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's feet work is everything, man, in all sports. And all the good old linemen that hoop and play basketball have the best feet work for football because it all transitions. Tight end is right on the end next to the O-line. Everything transitions. Basketball, because every move in basketball, you need footwork to set up the next move.
Come on, man.
To get you for your transition. And that's all football really is. You need footwork to get off the line, to get in and out of your routes, to be able to know how to take steps and take a certain amount of steps before you engage with a defender. So everything is translatable in that sense. And it helped me tremendously. I'm going to tell you a story. The little yellow ball with the knots on it. That was the worst, bro. That was the worst. And you would throw the ball against the wall. And that really showed me how sorry I really was. It showed me how sorry I was back then.
But then you really got it, though.
Yeah.
When you start getting it, you know, I throw that ball on that feet, you adjust and get that ball. I was like, yes, he getting it now.
Yeah, that lateral anticipation.
Yeah,
man,
lateral anticipation. See, a lot of people don't pay attention to the real detail, especially with your feet. And I think that was one of the things and that's one of the things I always laid my hat on, because coming back from Europe, I saw things different. And that's one of the reasons a lot of those guys that are coming over here. So let me ask you a question. So tell us about your college career, man, in football, man. Tell us about it. You went to the University of South Carolina, correct? That's right. Let's touch on that a little bit. How was that? What was that like, man?
It was pretty cool, man. It was definitely a different experience. Coach Spurrier recruited me. At first he recruited me to play both. They offered me a scholarship to play both, but once we got on campus, they was like, nah, you know, we want you to focus on football. So I redshirted my first year, and that was super hard because all you do is work out and run pretty much the entire year while the football team is playing.
Got it.
So redshirt is really where I developed. I was putting on weight. I was a receiver at the time, and they was like, all right, do you mind moving to tight end? And I was like, shoot, nah. And that was actually a blessing in disguise. I didn't really want to, but tight end helped me use my speed, my size advantage, and my talents to be able to expose people that weren't as athletically gifted as I was.
Sure.
So having that receiver transition helped me tremendously. My red shirt sophomore year, I ended up playing quite a bit. I was like the third string tight end. Probably caught the most passes out of all the tight ends though. And then my junior year, I had a tremendous year. I was predicted to be one of the top 2 tight ends come out. So I was like, I'm gone. I had the opportunity to leave. Things weren't bubbling too well in South Carolina. They were trying to replace me already. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get up out of here.
Right.
And ended up declaring for the draft and ended up going 3rd round.
That's awesome, man. That's a blessing, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
The journey was real.
Yeah.
So what was your, when you first stepped on campus, what was your experience, you know, coming from high school, coming from the AAU basketball, just coming from that whole different environment? What was your first experience?
Nose wide, eyes wide. Bruh, I'm gonna tell you, and you can kind of attest to this because this is kind of what life is, right? Life is going from it's constantly going from a little fish in a big pond to a big fish in a little pond. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You go from being, you know, trash to the man, trash to the man, and that's kind of how it was at South Carolina. Like, you go from being like the best at your high school to now you trash again. Like, you in the locker room with grown men that's drinking and dipping, like smoking Black and Miles, like malt liquor is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got kids. Like, it's different, bro. Like, they out here, they got, you know, like dang near full-time jobs in college, and I'm sitting here like fresh in, like how, like. What these men got like?
And it's like dude got beards, you know?
Beard grown, and they ain't got a bit of peach fuzz on my face, dog. They grown out here.
Hey man, so we was talking. Me and Bert was talking too, man, about, you know, the average age, like in some of the top basketball teams, probably football too. Man, the average age is like 23 years old, bro. Mm-hmm. 23 years old. So them grown men. So these young boys, I think that transfer portal, it threw a wrench in the game, especially for these high school kids, man. Yeah. And you know, I think that, you know, some of these parents are thinking about reclassing. I think it's going to be helpful for girls and boys. But I really do think that back then, right, the opportunities that you guys had, you took advantage of it. You took advantage of it.
We had to, though.
Yes, man. Yes, and you maximized it. So I'm so proud of you, man. I can't, you know, when I watch TV, when I watch your game, like, I only watched the football games to watch you play. That's crazy, right? I'm serious, man. I wouldn't, you know, we didn't never talk, but out of sight was never out of mind, because I was like, I always felt that I was a piece of you, and you felt like you was a piece of me without saying no. And it was always like a personal thing. And we never really, we had conversation and we connected, but it was like, for me, it was bigger than basketball always. Mm-hmm. You know, just watching y'all grow, man, the gratification of that was just priceless. Mm-hmm. So when did you feel that you could play on the next level?
When I was probably a redshirt sophomore, we had guys that was going straight to the league from like playing 2 and 3 years, or maybe they transferred to South Carolina from JUCO, and there would be guys that I would go up against and I would beat in practice every day. And that's another thing about AAU that helped me out so much, is like, you could look at a guy on the surface, oh man, he looked like a dog. He might be 6'7", 6'8", just built. But once he get on the court, you be sorry, you know what I'm saying? And you always tell him, oh, don't fall for that little, you know what I'm saying? Don't fall for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it really is, like in South Carolina. These dudes, they might be the man. That's how it is in the league. These dudes that might be big, they might look the part, they might be the man, but you don't know if they really gonna be the man until they step on the field and they really be sorry. So these guys that I saw leaving South Carolina are guys from other schools that I was playing against and beating in the game, and they was getting first and second round bids to go to the NFL. I was like, you know what? Like, I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, I see these guys doing it, I could do it. So that's when I decided to make a sacrifice. My last year at South Carolina, I ain't go out, I ain't drink, I ain't party. I was like, I'm going to the league. Especially at that time, my mom was sick too. And I was like, man, I'm going to the league. I gotta get up out of here. So I stopped going out. I made a sacrifice, just focus on school and football, and it actually turned out to my advantage.
Wow, that's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So what was the college practices? What was the difference in the college practices and high school practices? You know, what was the difference?
The college practices is pretty much all day, especially like camp and stuff. You know, in high school, they can only keep you a certain amount of time, or they might run into conflicts with school. But in college, that's your job pretty much. School and that is your job.
Right.
That is your focus. And as soon as you leave, because you start in summer school,
right,
when nobody's on campus, and as soon as you leave practice or a workout, you're going to class. As soon as you leave practice, you're going to study hall, or either you're going back to your room and study. So that's pretty much you know, where your time is taken up. So it's pretty much the time control that they have, which also in turn makes you a better player and a better person.
Wow, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So Jared, I want to ask you too, man, because what you see a lot of times with a lot of guys that make it to the next level, they lose sight of who they are. Because they have so many people around them with their hands out, the groupies, the tag-alongs, whatever you may call them. And I noticed that you never had the entourage. You know, you was always, because you was always like solo-minded anyway. Like you was focused, you was driven. So can you just touch on to some of these young guys, especially the ones that's talking about, trying to play two sports and maximize one, how to make sure you do that and maintain your academics, right? Two is, okay, when you're going and when people start tagging you and you say you're that guy, how do you cipher out all the necessary noise and the people that want to tag along because they got their hands open expecting you to give them something?
I'm gonna say this. So I was in high school and I went through a lot in high school. I went through a lot, like personally. I was getting myself into trouble, and I think that kind of made me refocus. Once I got out of that trouble, I think that kind of made me refocus. Like, the outside noise is not what matters. All the BS that comes with it is not what matters. What matters is the focus and the attention that you give yourself to be able to stay on the right path. It's all, no matter what profession, no matter what occupation you're in, it's always going to be groupies. It's always going to be people with their hand out. It's always going to be, especially we come from black families, it's always going to be people looking at you for support, but they don't know your vision and they don't know where you're going. That's their life. And I think that's the biggest thing I had to separate is I can't save everybody. They got to try and make it on their own at some point because I'm putting in all this work. I'm putting in all this extra time people don't see. I'm working out at night. I'm going to run hills by myself, but they blowing their check on whatever. It's not like they're making any sacrifice to get themselves ahead. And that's where I had to kind of separate, like, look, everybody's not going to make the sacrifice and everybody's not going to make the self-dedication to themselves to be able to be great. It's a difference in chasing greatness and chasing good and mediocre, and I wanted to chase greatness.
Wow.
So once I went through that in high school, I realized, like, you got to set yourself apart. Forget everything else, everybody else, because, and you know this, all that comes with money, right? All that comes with success. Everything you want, all the stuff that the people got their hands out, all the business deals you want, all that comes with success. So if you attain the success yourself first, that stuff is gonna come without you even thinking about it. And then at that point, it's up to you to decide what type of path you want to go down. But none of this stuff is worth it.
Wow.
Like the people that's trying to bring you down, that's not on the same path as you, it's never worth it.
Man, speaking of that, like what I've learned, right? No matter what you do, how high you go, and the media is really good at it, right? You know as well as I know. They'll build you up to tear you down. You know what I'm saying? So how important it is to know who you are and not to believe the hype, right? Because what happens, a lot of guys get caught in the hype and they start believing that stuff. Like they talk, oh, you this, you that. No, how important is that to stay focused on the vision?
It's incredibly, especially nowadays when the media is all around you, it's incredibly important. I had a football coach, and I've gone through stuff in my career. It's always gonna be challenging. But I had a football coach that always told me, don't get too high, don't get too low, just stay even keel, always. Because if you get too high, it's a setup for a letdown. And if you get too low, there's no guarantee that you'll come back from that. So, and nowadays with the media, people always gonna try and tear you down. People always got something to say. People always got a way to get a hold of you through media accounts, talk to you. That's why it's so important to have a strong mental game, like be in a strong mental state to where the outside noise don't affect you, because people can be miserable in their own skin, bro.
Wow.
And they're gonna try and do something to bring you down just to be miserable with them, and don't even get followed in that trap.
Wow.
Strong mind. In sports, having a strong mind is so important, especially nowadays.
Absolutely.
It's so important.
Absolutely. Man, you said a mouthful, and I had this conversation all the time. Like, a lot of people are walking around like, I call them human meat suits, human dump trucks, right? Looking somewhere to dump their garbage, man. And so that's why you got to stand fast and stay focused on the vision. I think a lot of it, and I keep going back to your parents, man, because let me tell you something, man. When you talk about teen parents, good parents, support, you open the dictionary, your parents' picture is in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I saw it, bro. I saw the focus and the dedication. And when I see that, it's like, these guys can't lose. Because you got the foundation. They put y'all in the right environment so that you can grow around the right people, right? So that you can grow. And then it was just up to y'all. And you and Jason, y'all went on and did your thing, man. And so, now that you've gotten to that level, now you retired. So tell me, what has been, since you retired, the transition? How are you dealing with the transition of after life after football?
Man, it's good. Now I have an ability to be able to spend with my wife and my kids a little bit more. We homeschool our kids still because we were homeschooling when we was traveling. It was just easier. And I get a chance to be at home and just play with them and just hang with them a lot more. And but most importantly, kind of reflect on where my career has been, where I've been the past 20 some odd years, since high school, and just figure out who I want to be and where I want to go now. I have a chance to be able to kind of reinvent myself, which is important. So I want to make sure I take the right steps in being able to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, I want to say this too, Jared. A lot of people say they want it, but they don't want to pay that price.
Yeah.
And see, you said something earlier. It's not what you do when the lights are on, it's what you do when nobody's not watching you. Yeah. And so you said somehow, running the hills and doing different things. People don't understand the sacrifice that goes into that. Like, you have to be creative, and doing that, you're building a whole different mental state. So just give me some real nuggets on that for these young people, man, in terms of trying to just be successful at anything. How important it is to have the right mindset, but that mindset have to keep you. When everybody go right, you got to go left. You got to be so driven and so focused on your goal. So just touch on that a little bit for me.
Yeah, it's those hours of operation that you get no credit for. And I think that's like one of the hardest things you have to be able to accept, is that you might be working all night. You might be like, I got a basement in my gym. I used to stay up all night and just live. I used to be like, you're not working hard enough, just go live. Like, you have to be able to always stay there to be able to always get better. Your expectations have to match your work ethic. They have to. If you got high school expectations, cool, your work ethic got to match that. If you got league expectations, your work ethic got to be able to match that and then some, because none of it's easy, bro. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life as a whole, as a man. The ups, the downs, everything with it, but what stayed consistent was my work ethic. That's why teams still was calling me. That's why teams would love to stay in contact, is because they understood what type of work that I was going to put in to try to help make their teams better.
Wow.
And I learned that from, not only watching other guys that have been in, Hall of Fame positions, but actually, learning from them, hearing them say it, but actually like watching them go through it. Like quarterback, like Drew Brees used to sit there and go through stuff on air all day, on air. We go over it, work. That's all it is, man. You have to be able to, if you want to get to that level, that work ethic, the mental mind state to never be satisfied, always has to be able to be there to propel you forward.
Right.
And that's one of the hardest parts about it, but you always got to keep working, man. The work never stops.
Yes. And that's that strong mental discipline you have to have, because it's easier. I don't want to say it's not easy, because there's only so many opportunities, but when you make it there, it's harder to stay. That's what most people don't know. It's harder to stay because you have to maintain and stay there. I just, and you know what? Also, man, you was a Pro Bowler. Two-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So this boy went from AAU basketball, high school, University of South Carolina, played in the league 12 years, right? 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a two-time Pro Bowler, man. Let me tell you something. That's a hell of an accomplishment. You have had a hell of a life, man. God has been good to you, man, and I'm
Absolutely.
so proud of you, bro, because I saw the grind. I was a part of the grind. I felt like I was a part of it because just watching you grow, man.
You helped instill that, though.
That's crazy, man.
Like, you helped instill that.
Wow. That's crazy, man. And you guys remember that. And that to me, that's priceless. Because now your story, some of these other young kids is going to hear your story. That's why I'm bringing guys on like you and Afarouk and Lou, and I'm bringing all you guys on because I want people to hear the story, because where it starts, a lot of times it's how it's going to finish if you stay focused.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You stay in that path. So, but yeah, let's shift gears a little bit, man. Let's talk about some of the topics, man, like the Lamar Jackson. I just want to, I'm trying to get a feel. You know how the league is. Why doesn't this brother have a contract? Why haven't they really on it? Now give me the root. I want the nuts and bolts now. Don't play with me on this one. Tell me why this brother don't have a contract. Help
I
me.
don't know. I really don't. They keep blaming it on injuries, but they always say that without comparing it to the other side, or quarterbacks that have been in his position that have constantly stayed injured, they were able to, get a contract or a large sum. I think it's insane that Daniel Jones went and got a deal before a reigning MVP went and got a deal.
Right.
And Lamar's done nothing but prove himself and take the Ravens to the playoffs year after year, and done nothing but prove what type of player he is on the field in all aspects of the game. Surpassed expectations from when he was drafted all the way until now. So it's like, you know how the league works, and you know how it's politics and everything.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a huge part of it. And it could be anything. Teams talk to each other. It's a good old boys network. People around the league, they talk all the time. So you never know what other teams are telling them. You just never really know. It's dirty. I mean, it's like any other world. You have the dirt, you have the politics of it all. So you never know what's really going on behind the scenes. But the fact that, even the team here in Atlanta that don't have a quarterback really, that didn't reach out and see, it just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, that kind of when Atlanta didn't even look at him like that, that kind of like, man, they must got some type of thing going around with these general managers saying, don't touch that guy.
Yeah, it's politics and everything.
Yeah.
Look at how the Angel Reese situation has blown up the past couple days. What Angel Reese and the girl from Iowa has blown up the past couple days. They'll take anything.
Bro.
And try to shift it against you in any type of way.
Yeah.
So that's why you just always gotta be. And I credit Lamar. He ain't came out. He ain't said nothing. He just been holding steadfast, and I credit him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you play? Did you get a chance to play with him?
Nah,
you didn't get a chance to play with him. So, let me ask you too, because we're gonna touch on the Angel Reese stuff too as well. Your boy Aaron Rodgers, you think he's going to the Jets? Is he with the Jets or no? What's
Not yet. They haven't officially sent a trade over for him yet.
Okay.
So it's still up in the air if Green Bay is even going to release his rights.
Got it. What was it like playing with that dude, man?
Best quarterback I played with.
Really?
No doubt.
Wait.
Both.
Where you put that thing at, man?
Anywhere. And like, you a hooper.
Yo.
And a lot of quarterbacks claim that they hooped at one time.
Uh-huh.
It's like having a perfect alley every time. he get it. He a football whisperer. We was one time we practiced outside. It's negative 30. 30 cold wind going crazy up in Green Bay. And we start inside in the indoor, and then we go outside. So, you sweating up on you cold. Like, we all over the heater, he just in the cold. Wind like 20 miles an hour. He in perfect spirals in the wind.
What?
Like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. He set up a basketball, like it's bigger than a basketball hoop, but they throw into it like they practice jump balls in the end zone.
Right.
He set that thing up 60, 70 yards.
What?
Take his drop, launch, bomb, bottom of the net, like it's nothing.
Stop it, man.
Incredible. I've never seen anybody with as much accuracy and ball control as he has. Because you have some quarterbacks like, and a lot of quarterback coaches think it's cool, like, let's rip the ball. Like, you don't want to catch no missile, boy. You want to catch something that's nice and going to be like, because you want quarterbacks to throw with timing and rhythm.
Yes.
That's what quarterback is all about,
Right.
is timing and rhythm.
Right.
And his anticipation, his timing and rhythm was always on point.
Wow.
Always on point.
Wow, and that's that touch. He had that touch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You like them kind of passes. Yeah. Wow. So what? Let me ask you this: you had a chance to play with Drew Brees too.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the difference? What was the difference between playing with Drew Brees and playing with Aaron Rodgers?
Drew Brees was just a technician, man.
Really?
Yeah, he. By the time me and Drew got together, he didn't have as much arm strength as he had early in his career, and he was kind of going through injuries those 2 years. But man, you want to talk about somebody that, you know, rhythm and timing, ball coming out early, like as soon as your head come around, you know the ball's in the air. Like anticipation was impeccable. But his ability to know the game, know where everybody was going to be and how he studied the game, it would be times where he didn't practice because he would be injured. Like, he older. Like, you got to respect the man. So he wouldn't even practice until, like, Saturday. We come out for walkthrough, and he know everything on point. Everything would be on point like he was there all week.
Wow.
All week. And
Wow.
it's his approach to the game that made him different. Because as a quarterback, you have to know what everybody's doing all the time. What everybody's doing, even the referees. And he always had control of everything.
Wow. So, and I had this argument with a guy. He was arguing about the salaries that quarterbacks get, and he was like, "Man, quarterbacks don't deserve that much money." And so, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Like,
I think they do deserve the bread. I think some, not all.
Yeah.
Some people, a lot of people in the league, you know, you can hit the bank
Right.
and still be considered, you know, mediocre. I think some guys deserve the bag and some guys don't, but I think definitely if you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league, you should definitely get paid for that.
Right.
But sometimes you have guys that'll get that bag and they're just not paying out to be even close to what it's worth.
I think that boy Mahomes, he set the bar kind of high, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's a unicorn, though,
Yeah,
bro.
he doing different stuff.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, he. You want to talk about somebody that could just go out there and play ball? Everything don't necessarily have to be right, but he can use his feet to be able to create better situations for his team. And as long as he has the O-line to hold up time, he uses his feet to create throws on the run all the time.
And he just throw it.
Yeah.
It's almost like
any type of way, on the run, any type of way, and he make completion.
Wow.
Very smart quarterback.
Yeah, what do you think? Watching him and the guy Kelce, what's the guy?
Yeah.
That's his name, Kelce?
Yeah.
So when I watch him, do you think that playing with a quarterback like him, you would have had that same impact as
Yeah, I
Kelce?
think a lot of guys would.
So he moved
A quarterback is going to make a player.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that I can't do nothing if this man can't give me the ball.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the quarterback is what's going to make the player. So a lot of people thought when Tyreek Hill left that they was going to have a down year. He just fed Kelce more.
Yeah,
because he's a smart quarterback that understands as long as I get my guys the ball, they're going to make the plays. So, you know, whenever you have a good quarterback and a great quarterback, it make your job easy.
Wow.
It make your job easy.
Yeah, wow. So how do you feel about the Thursday night football games going from, 1 to 2 games?
Oh, is it?
Well, I think so. I think it's going to one to 2 games. Yeah, I think it's going to 2 games on Thursday night. What do you think? Used to be 1, right?
Yeah.
Now it's going to 2 games, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 per season.
Yeah. How many?
They trying to move it up to 2 games.
So every team gets 2 Thursday night games now.
At least, they're pushing to make everybody have at least 2 Thursday night games.
Still 17 games though.
Still the same amount of games.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think with them adding the 17 game season, what was that, 2 years ago? It pans out the same. It gives you an extra bye week, but it's the week leading up into it that's hard.
Got it.
Because you might play on Sunday night, but then you got to be ready by you got to have everything done by Tuesday.
Got
And
it.
usually Tuesday is a day off in the league.
Right.
So it's a super short week to be able to get ready for a full-time opponent. And when you got injuries from the week before, when you banged up still from the week before, it's hard to get up and get ready for that for 1 week in the season. But when you do it 2 weeks, I mean, you get a break on the backside of that. But what do you know, like, as long as whenever you have pre-existing injuries or banged up, that gives you a bigger risk to get injured even more. So I think it's just how guys handle the recuperation going from the week before his game into the next game. Because after that, you're good. You got a bye week pretty much.
Right.
It's just going into that game is hard.
Well, speaking of that, like, just if you don't mind, to the audience, just break down what do a typical week look like preparing for a game? You know, just the whole preparation. What does
From a
that
player's
look?
perspective?
From a player's perspective, yeah, from a player's perspective.
Players got it easier than coaches.
Right.
Coaches hardly ever sleep, but players, you know, Monday is like recovery day. That's after the game, or you might have a Monday night game. But Monday is like a recovery day. You come in, you get a lift, and you review the film. Tuesday is a day off. Wednesday is usually a hard hitting practice because it's like run game day. Thursday is basically pass game day, third down. So you might have a little run, but mostly going to pass. And then Fridays is like, you might be in t-shirts or just shoulder pads, but Friday is like third down, red zone, and then specials. And then Saturday is a review, Sunday is the game.
Got it.
So the hardest practice day is a Wednesday. Wednesday is the tough day. That's that mental day because you got all inside run periods, you got multiple team periods and a long individual.
Right.
So those are Wednesdays are the hard days, but once you get to Friday and Saturday, it's kind of a breeze.
Yeah, I do these scenarios when I'm talking to players and kids about, okay, because I refer it back to football. Like, so if I'm a basketball player, whoever has the basketball player, they are the quarterback. The other four players are receivers, right? And so what I try to tell them, in order to be, because we, like a lot of teams, a lot of people who develop in these players, they don't work on passing and receiving the ball because if you can't pass and catch, you can't play. And so we start all the way at the bottom. We work with passing and receiving. So my question to you is, what made you a good receiver? You know what I mean? What are the things, not only just your footwork, I mean, you had to understand what you was doing, but there have to be a feel too. Yeah, it's a natural feel that you have to have where your instincts kind of take over. So if they break that off, you got options to go the other way. So what you think your strength was as a receiver? Where was your biggest strength?
I understood timing and anticipation. I understood where the quarterback wanted me to be and how much time he had in the pocket before he was either sacked or had to get rid of it. So with that, you know, it's a lot pre-snap, post-snap that you got to be able to recognize. But when receiver, the most important thing is your eyes. You got to be able to slow the game down in your mind, and you got to be able to slow the game down with your eyes. Because when the ball's spinning, on the NFL ball, it's a little harder to read, but you got the laces. On the high school ball, you got the stripes, and you got the wording. So when that ball's spinning, you know how a ceiling fan spin and you got to catch, you try to catch a blade? It's like that. You have to slow it down with your eyes to be able to catch something on it, to be able to lock in on it. The next thing is your hands. You got to be able to look it all the way in to the tuck. They say look it to the tuck. And that's the hardest thing to do is because you got to look it all the way in to you and then you got to see it all the way to the tuck and then get up and find where you're going to go. So it's like, you have to slow the game down in your mind and with your eyes when the ball's in the air and coming to you, but you still have to be able to move full speed at the same time. And then, like the type of receiver I am, I'm a big body guy. So, you know, going up high, my basketball skills help me with that. Going up high to get the ball. I'm long, so throw the ball out to where the defender can't get me. If the defender's on my hip or on my neck, you got to be able to throw it with the right amount of velocity to be able, so only I could get it.
Right.
And I think that's what helped me out the most is my size advantage, being able to get to places where average players are not able to get or reach.
So a lot of times it's reads, right? It's reads, right? So you go up to the line, they go into the audibles based on the situation, right? And like I was always curious, man. Some of them just be shooting the bull. They just be saying stuff, right, just to throw you off. It don't be nothing, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, so like them audibles, I just be trying to understand. I be trying to catch it. What actually be going on up there on that line, man? You know, when he be calling.
All right, so most of the time it's on the quarterback. I've only been 1 or 2 places where they rely on the center. I think my last 2 years with the Chargers, my last year with the Chargers, they relied on the center because they didn't really, the quarterback wasn't able to call it like that. So they're reading the defensive linemen, they're reading the fronts, whatever shade the guy is most of the time on the run play. They're reading the linebackers and they're reading the coverage. So they're reading all 3 levels of the defense. And based on that, especially based on pre-snap, post-snap coverage, that's basically telling the quarterback what he wants to do. So basically they're either going from pass to run or run to pass a lot of times on these audibles. So they reading your line to decide, hey, am I gonna go from run to pass, pass to run, or sometimes you'll have 3 plays to where they'll be like original play, roll it back, or kill. They'll have a kill attached to it to where it ain't the first play, kill. It's the second play I called in the huddle. So a lot of times going to the line, you have to know 2 or 3 plays in your mind, and you have to know based on the defense what that quarterback is giving to you, or a signal. Like it might be a signal like this, some slight like, but you always have to keep your eyes on the quarterback to know what's going on.
Wow. So you signaling on it.
Yeah, look, like Aaron Rodgers used to, right? You like little stuff, bro. And if you missed it, you screwed.
So, for example, what would a signal like this be or that? What would it be? What most cases?
Like one of the most famous Aaron Rodgers one is this one.
What's that?
It's like you smoke it. It's called dragging. You dragging on something. So you dragging. A drag is a drag with a slant. It's called dragging.
So do everybody do that or just you? That would be your call. Well, how is that?
That's everybody. It's a full whole huddle call for everybody. So the O-line has to know if you're going to pass, if he calls dragging or dragging. He might, and the receivers have to know, and the running back, because that changes the running back from protection, a different type of protection. That changes the O-line to a different type of protection. And that a lot of times allows the quarterback to get the ball out fast.
So the drag is you go and then you.
So it's it's basically 2-man route. So you got 2 by 2. So the inside guys have drag straight to the flat towards the sideline. You just running straight to the sideline, and the outside guys have a slant, like 3 steps up and in.
Got it.
So you basically trying to outflank the defense either here or either get in on the inside route here.
Because most of when you do that, it'd be a zone, right? Is that when they
slants?
Yeah, slants.
It could be zone or man.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Slants is zone or man. Because sometimes you can throttle in that hole in zone, but man, you got to beat the guy. However, sometimes the quarterback got to sit on his back foot longer in man.
So when everything breaks down, those plays don't work. I see a lot of time when you go to the scramble, I guess the scramble drill, that's when you got to go and create opportunity or space for the quarterback, correct?
Yeah. So everybody has scramble rules usually. Some teams don't have scramble rules, but mostly every team has a scramble rule. If you on the sideline and you short, you go deep. If you deep, you come short. If you in the middle of the field and you short, you work deeper. But everybody's running to the way of the quarterback, and the hardest part is when you running your route, you don't know which way the quarterback gonna scramble. So you might be all the way over here and he scrambled this way. But once you know that he's scrambling, you have to get in his line of vision, and you have to get to your spot immediately.
Wow. It's a lot going on out there. People don't.
Yeah, it's a lot. You have to be smart to play offense. There's too much going on. Like,
you ever got it wrong? You ever got on you about a play? Damn, man, you forgot to play. You forgot your cue, man.
Absolutely, all the time.
You supposed to went that way, but you didn't go that way.
Yeah, all the time. I was that guy before, especially when I was younger. But then when I was older, I was the guy that was telling guys people where to go.
Because when you go in that film room, it ain't nice, right?
No, it's never nice. You dread film on Monday. Boy, you dread,
especially when you know
they're gonna be on your head, and everybody gonna see it. The whole team gonna see it. And they gonna call you booyah in front of me. Football make you strong, boy, because they going to talk shit about you. they going to talk about you bad, boy.
I love it, man. So, hey, man, last thing, man. Let's touch on this whole Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thing. Yeah. Give me your perspective on that, man. Like, for real.
I just think
we're talking real.
I just think a lot of times people fail to look at things. It's just like in life, right? Especially when you have a spouse, people fail to look at things from both sides. And I think it was a harsh critique for America to look at Caitlin and what she did to be deemed okay and fine, but then when Angel Reese do it, she's deemed aggressive or unholy in some sort of way in the eyes of people. But people never want to look at both sides of the situation. They always want to look at the side that through the eyes of their own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times through your own eyes, like, it's tainted and it's not pure.
Right.
So people's tainted and pure thoughts and they come out publicly, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think, though, just to touch on it, society and culture, everything that we've been through, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Racism is racism. You know what I mean? Period. I mean, everything, everywhere we go, and that's why in my academy, man, and we can learn a lot from our children, man, because for me, it's not a black and a white thing. It's a people thing, right? And so what we do, in my academy, what we do is we got all, cultures, man. We got Indians, we got Chinese, we got all. It's not, and so when you watch those children, those kids playing together, see, kids will play with each other till the parents tell them not to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you watching them interact with each other. They don't care about no race. They don't care how he looked and things of that nature. But we have to, and I say we have to use our platform, sports or what have we, to make a change, because our children, what we do now is going to be for our children. And so if we don't be careful, and I think we made some progression, but the underbelly of that racism is still there, man. It's still there, no matter what we do, man. So, and it makes it harder. It's almost like we coming up, we trying to climb this hill with weights on our back. No matter how good we are, it's always, we gotta face that racism thing. You know what I mean? And so I just think that, when Caitlin did it, it was okay. Everybody was cool. Oh, she's a good athlete. That's good sportsmanship. But when Angel did it, and she wasn't being, she's a good person overall. I personally know her, right? Know her people. She's a good person. So what happens, Derek? Arrogant and confidence is close. Like, if you don't know the person, you think they're arrogant, but they're just confident. And so I just think that, they just blew that thing up, man, and everybody was looking for something. So
which they always do.
Which they always do, man. That it always rear its head, that racism, man. So unfortunately, it happened that way, but hey, man, let's move on, man. We got to get past this, man. We got to get past this, especially in sports. So that's why we got to use our platforms. Basketball, football, you work with our children, man. Let's try to get them to work together, man. Because look, we all on the same, we in the same building, man. We just on different floors, man. So let's try to make that happen. But in closing, man, let me say something, man. This has been an honor, bro, to have you up here. One of my guys. This is one of my guys. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank
you for coming, man. Thank you for coming, man. Already, man. Thanks a lot, man. Until next time, we out. Peace.